Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Canadian Retro. I've got a video response here to Musty Hobbit's request that I go through my 5 nostalgia games, and Musty Hobbit is actually a person I've met very recently. We do like a Google Hangouts kind of thing with Cartridge Canuck, a variety of other people in there too. I'm not going to go listing off all the names of the YouTube celebs that are in there, but usually like a Tuesday night sort of hangout session, and that's really where I met Musty Hobbit. He's one of the cartridge club members that I know as a member of the Cartridge Club. Never really had interactions with me before that, and he asked me to do this, I think just to get to know some of my gaming interests a little bit better. So really happy to put this video together for you guys, and let me get started on this right now. So I think I'm going to start with like old generation and new one. I don't really want to put these games on a pedestal next to each other kind of thing. They're all sort of nostalgic for different reasons, I guess, and there are so many games that on different systems that I have major fond memories for. But when asked this question, these are sort of the first ones that really popped into my head. Are these necessarily my favorite games? They're definitely ranking up there as some of my favorite games, but would I say they are my favorite games? Not necessarily. I think nostalgia and favorite are sort of two different things. They don't always go hand in hand necessarily, but for me, these are some of mine. So I'm going to start on it, starting off with a couple of NES titles. So the first one here is Micro Machines, and I remember first renting this back in the day, and then somehow I think it might have been through a trade with someone. We ended up getting like the card-only kind of Micro Machines game. This game was absolutely phenomenal. I just loved the way that this looked. The top-down view. It took a lot of track memorization really to get far in this game. I don't think I ever beat it. I can get fairly decently, but it's sort of just the difficulty curve really hits you later on. I think it would require a lot more memorization than I had time to put into it necessarily. But I did put a lot of hours, I think, into this game back in the day. What I really loved about this game was actually hooking up the Game Genie to it, and there was a way where you could avoid losing a race, I think it was. I'm trying to remember what code it was exactly, but basically allowed you to explore a little bit outside the regular tracks. You didn't have to worry about losing the race or time expiring or anything like that. So you're actually able to explore a little bit, and surprisingly enough, there were a few spots on some of these courses where there was just like little fun things you could do. For instance, there's one where and I'm looking on the back here, so I'm trying to remember the actual name of it. It's called Hot Pursuit. Hot Pursuit is the one which is set on the school tables, the desks, I guess, at school, and you'd be driving around on the course or whatever, pulling jumps off of binders, and there's like erasers in the way and these kind of things for the obstacles and whatnot. And I really loved going sort of off-roading on that one with that Game Genie code. Really good time right there, and pulling jumps off of different binders that weren't normally like attached to the regular track. So that was really something fun that I rather enjoyed right there. And if you haven't checked this one out, it's pretty cool. This is a Comerica game, so this was actually licensed by Nintendo, so really kind of cool to get this one here. And I'm actually looking for all the Micro Machines games that came out a little bit later on, like the Super Nintendo I think had one, and Genesis had a couple of them, those kind of things. I'm really interested in getting those. I don't have those in my collection yet, but definitely something I'd be on the hunt for. And moving on here, and this game I talked about pretty much every single time I'm asked one of these videos. This is one of definitely my favorite games, that's for sure, on the NES, and that is Destiny of an Emperor. I can't get enough of this game. I was searching for this for quite a while. I actually did a trade. I have a loose copy of this, and I also have this box copy of it just because I just loved this game so much. So I was so happy when I was able to pick this up recently, not too long ago, maybe like about like 8 months ago or 9 months ago kind of thing. I think it was at the Waterloo Video Game Swap. I was able to pick up this title right here, the box version of it, and just absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoy the depth of this game. It's not overly challenging or difficult, I think, in this day and age. Of course, if you were playing this back in the day the way I was playing it, we rented it numerous times actually, and we had it for quite some time. I think someone may have had a copy of this, because I do remember having it a little bit longer than a rental, but I was playing this like just to no end. I really got obsessed with this game. I was playing it so much when I was a kid, and for something at that time period, I think, to capture my attention, it was basically this and like Final Fantasy, those RPG kind of style of game. I hadn't really seen anything like that before these two games, so this one here really captured my attention and got me going on that kind of genre, and I really can't speak more highly of this game. I also have another video out there that I put together that's basically solely devoted to this game back in my catalog of things, just because I love this game so much. So this one's here is a Capcom title, not often talked about, but definitely something worth checking out if you're into the Final Fantasy style RPG sort of elements of things. It's not totally like that, but it definitely resembles that in many regards, so check that one out. Really fun. Moving on though, I'll get into it. I'm trying to remember which one of these two I played first. It's some stuff on the Genesis. So basically when I was done the NES, I moved on to the Genesis, and the Genesis was the first system that I bought with my own cash. So as a kid, I worked in restaurants. I was a dishwasher in restaurants, making whatever it was, like $6.85 an hour or something like that, or $5 something an hour kind of thing. And after months and months of just basically hoarding cash, I was able to get myself a Sega Genesis with my own money, and that was pretty impressive for me, back in the day kind of thing, to be able to do that, on your own. So that was sort of that's sort of like my main connection to the Genesis, just being the first system I ever bought with my own cash. But this here was one of the titles that I absolutely had to play back in the day, and I actually played this one well into university. I remember still playing this game on the Genesis, or whenever I really had a chance to, and I've beaten this game a number of different times. I pretty much know like every single nook and cranny of Dungeons and Dragons, Warriors of the Eternal Sun. I've played this game probably in numerous times. I can't even count the number of times I've played this. Probably at least once a year I go through and beat this game. It's so much fun. It has basically like two main kind of game modes. You have the over-the-top strategy tactical kind of approach, where you're attacking monsters, and that's like their turn and your turn kind of thing, and it's all turn-based sort of idea. And then when you get in the dungeons, it's a first-person view, and you're going through the dungeons and trying to attack and avoid getting hit by the enemies and this kind of thing. And it took quite a bit, back in the day to get through this, but once you sort of get your patterns down and you know exactly what you're doing, this game here can be defeated pretty quickly. I think I could probably do this in a couple hours these days, but I'll still chuck this in every once in a while. It's always fun to go back and just refresh my memory where all the goodies are hidden and all that kind of thing. And as a D&D fan from way back in the day, I don't really play it now, but I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. Probably starting at about grade 8, I was playing the tabletop game. Just really sparked my fancy about video games, about Dungeons and Dragons. When I saw this, I just had to play it, so I really have that connection with that one there. And then the next one here, story that goes along with this one, when I was, and I'm trying to remember, this must have been sometime in high school, I think probably somewhere in the middle of high school, I actually skipped school to play this game. So I sort of feigned sick and stayed home to play this game. I had rented it, and I don't think I actually beat this game when I rented it, but when I when I sort of started collecting again, this was the one that I really want to get my hands on, and this is sort of my guilt game, because I did skip a couple days of school just to play it during the course of the rental, but that was Shining Force. And yeah, I took a couple days off. I mean, I went, I think it was like probably like a Tuesday night kind of thing. I can't remember the exact day of the week, but it was something like that. And I kind of went and I was like, oh, I'm kind of bored. And I went and rented this game. And when I got it home, I started playing it that night, and I pretty much like couldn't put it down. I had to play all the way through, as far as I could get anyways. And I was kind of sad that I had to take this game back to the rental shop when I was done, because you know, my time had expired with it, and you know, other people had sort of signed up to get their hands on it. So you know, it kind of got away from me, and I finally got it back not too long ago. Of course, I emulated this a couple of times since then, and I've played this through from start to finish. Absolutely love it. I never actually played the second one in the series, and you think I would, being such a huge fan of this one, but still, this game is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I just love the cutscene kind of thing in it, and I really do like the tactical kind of style, like the Final Fantasy Tactics, you know, this kind of game, or even that part of this Dungeons and Dragons game. Just, you know, that tactical, you know, you pick your moves kind of thing, you plan out your strategy around it. That's really something that, you know, really interests me. So this was right up my alley, and I totally love this game, and still do to this day. And the last one here, despite everything you see behind you here, is actually a PC game, which I've probably sunk the most hours of any game in my entire life into this game. I'm talking like days upon days, if not like a year probably of my life has gone into this game when all is said and done, because this game has been online for, if it's not 20 years, it's pretty close to 20 years at this point, and that is Ultima Online. This is the box I have right now for it. I mean, there's other ones as well. They don't release physical copies of this game anymore. It's all digital download, but it is still online, and this is just, like, I'd say an epic game. I mean, there's basically 20 years of content. They keep adding new content, new items, a full crafting system, just tons of different templates. I think the customization of your characters in this is just phenomenal. I mean, you can make pretty much any kind of character you want, and there's a lot of different templates you can sort of use that really work well, but you never have to stick to one kind of thing. And it was always fun just tweaking your character and changing things up and seeing what worked well, and just it goes on and on. I mean, the amount of hours you can put into this one, and it's just a massively online community that's still playing it to this day. I don't know how robust it is right now. Basically, when I started recollecting all this stuff, or whatever you want to call it, started going back and retro collecting sort of thing, I had to put this by the wayside. It was really consuming a lot of my time, to the point where I wasn't really playing, or, you know, had other hobbies outside of this game. I probably paid like a couple hours a day, and that was just a little too much, I think. And you know, with an online community, you really get sucked in, and you make friends there, and you're spending time with them online. And I don't regret any of it, but it's just, I couldn't spend any more time invested into, you know, one particular game kind of thing. But I played this for probably close to 10 years, if not more, probably even more than that. Absolutely phenomenal game, though. You can still check it out to this day. Go check out some gameplay of some modern Ultima Online. I think you won't be too disappointed. The graphics aren't necessarily stellar by today's standards, but as far as I'm concerned, that's not really what this game is all about. This game is really about the content and just the vast amount of things that you can do, and the massive amounts of customization that's available to you in this game. I don't think there's anything like it, and I don't think there ever will be another thing quite like this, because they just don't make games like they used to, I think, in the case of this one. So that's everything I got for you guys this time around. Go check out Musty Hobbit's channel. He's a fabulous YouTuber that you must you know, see his content. Really good stuff there. I'll put links down below. Alright, for this I need to tag a few channels here, so I'm definitely going to do that. First channel I'd like to tag would be the Game Hunters. This is the duo. I've done trades with them before, and I just love all their content and watch everything that they put out there, and really entertaining channel to watch. So I want to hear what their top 5 nostalgia games are. I think I might have tagged them previously, but I'm not too certain about that. The next one here is Retro J, who was the winner of one of my recent contests. I think it was the 1,000 subscriber contest. I don't think it was. I know it was the 1,000 subscriber contest. I want to hear what his top 5 nostalgia games are, because he has quite the extensive collection of very high-end kind of stuff. So I want to see which one of those he sort of picks out as being his nostalgia type games. And the last one here, and it's just someone local who I haven't heard from in a little bit here, so kind of curious what he's going to pick for these ones. I think there might be a few PC things in here, and that is my buddy Longshot. I think I've tagged him before in similar kind of videos, but I don't know if it's like top 5 nostalgia games. I think he has like favorite games, and again, I want to stress the difference between something that has nostalgia for you and some things that are necessarily your favorite, and I don't think they're exactly the same. So I want to hear what his nostalgia games are. That's basically the idea behind that. That's everything I got for you this time around. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Go check out all those channels, and definitely check out Musty Hobbit channel, because if you're not, you're missing out on something there. He's one of my cartridge bros, and I'm really happy to do this video response for him. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you all later.